The original Doom from 1993 can still be considered a technical marvel today, and that is simply because of how many platforms it's able to run on. The code is magic. It would even run on most shitbox computers back in 93. But it also made its way to the PlayStation, Game Boy Advance, Sega 32X, the Super Nintendo by some miracle. You can play it on a TI-83 calculator, an ATM machine, a cash register, a printer, a fucking thermostat. No, really. But when they got to the N64 for some reason, they decided screw it, and made an entirely new original Doom game. Using the power of the N64, the game has all new levels, actual 3D graphics and lighting, new enemy designs, and it's possibly the first non-PC Doom game where the frame rate is actually good. Even on real hardware, it's locked at 30 and almost never moves. It was a completely unique game which, until recently, was unfortunately only available on the N64, but thankfully they finally remastered the game and gave it away for free to anyone who pre-ordered Doom Eternal, and you can play it on modern platforms. Now you can play it in full HD at 60 FPS, and even better, you don't need a memory card to save the game. Yeah, the original required a memory card, which was dumb. But you can also use a regular controller, or in my case, a mouse and keyboard. It is, without a doubt, the ideal way to play the game. Now, I've already reviewed the original version, but it was a few years back, so I figured it wouldn't be a bad idea to talk about it again, now that it's got the recognition that it deserved. So here we go. When this game first came out in '97, it was largely considered mediocre, but I think that's mostly because Doom was already a thing for 4 years at that point, and also that GoldenEye came out the same year, so it just seemed quaint by comparison. But in recent years, people have come to appreciate the classic Doom formula, and some people have even gained an appreciation for this game, as I have. Now, the gameplay is as you'd expect. It's basically the same as any Doom game, but with new levels. The movement in combat is very much like a dance, a waltz of death and dying. I recommend the highest difficulty for the best dying gameplay. The presentation of Doom 64 is actually quite a bit different from most classic Doom games. The visuals are much darker and moodier, so much so that I can't see shit without cranking the brightness. The sound effects and the music are much more ambient and echoey, a far cry from the crazy guitar riffs and Metallica parodies that you're probably used to. As cool as it is, it might just not be your thing, in which case you can just turn down the music, open up a Chrome tab in the background, and put on a Cannibal Corpse playlist. I think the intended effect is not to make you feel like some sort of badass tearing through the weak demons like in the other games. Instead, I think they want you to feel scared and alone. It really manages to drive the horror angle more heavily than the other versions, and for good reason. If you play on harder difficulties, which again I do recommend, you can get super fucked up. There were a few instances where I ran into a room and the floor just fucked off under my feet and I fell into a lava pit with no obvious way out and died. Or how about this part where there's this pitch black pit full of barely visible transparent specters who come and try to rip your dick off when you have no health, and then you have to scale the wall using these barely visible contusions that look like stairs. There are no checkpoints, but you can save at any time and load the exact spot where you saved, which is pretty sweet. Of course, if you want to play like some kind of fucking donkey man, you could technically just save 17 times per level every time you kill a bunch of guys, so you can reload it when you die. But it's more fun and tense to just save once per level, although it is very tempting to do it the other way. Going back through it now, I feel like there is a lot more puzzle solving than I remember or even expect from a Doom game. Granted, I actually got much further in the remaster than I did in the original, so this review is probably more accurate. There was this one dumb puzzle where I had to get this yellow key card, but every time I lowered the platform, this gate came down and moving the gate up made the platform go up. Turns out you have to leave the room and press this button to get it. That's dumb. Like the game's predecessors, it has a tendency to be cryptic as hell. You spend 15 minutes cutting down hordes of demons, and then you spend 7 years going back through the same level trying to figure out where the fuck to go or how to find a key card. Like this. I was stuck on this for 20 minutes until I discovered, you son of a bitch, you have to shoot the switch. I'm 20 levels into this dumbass game and I'm just now finding out that shooting switches is even a mechanic. Thank you, Doom. Very cool. The dumbest part of this is that you can shoot any enemy that's in front of you, even if they're several feet above you. The shots just go in the enemy's direction and kill them. But it doesn't do the same thing for switches, so you have to get to higher ground to shoot them. That's stupid. You know, it's a good thing Doom always gives you a detailed map mode, otherwise this would be fuck. Doom 64 is not immune to classic Doom horseshit, but it also built upon Doom's strengths and put a unique spin on its atmosphere. It's a very valuable addition to the series even to this day, and I think remastering it was a really nice decision. If you're a fan of Doom and you haven't played this one, I strongly recommend it. If you're a Doom fan who was put off by Doom Eternal for whatever reason, give this one a shot. It's not just good, it's good 64.